You've made it to cycle 3. So I'd like you to open up your books to page 122. We're going to be starting at the red dot where we left off. Page 122. Starting at he's sitting there. He's sitting there in the dark, so I can't see his face, and he says, "Wake up, sleepyhead. I better tell my own son a thing or two he needs to know about his own father. First thing, like I already said, I never killed anybody. I'm big like you're big. So folks assume things they shouldn't. You understand what I'm saying?" "Yes, sir, I do." "Good. Now the other thing is the geezers you've been living with all these years. Who are the geezers that he's referring to? Tell me the names of those geezers." "Yes, Grim and Graham. Grim and Graham, calling them geezers. I bet they never gave you the presents I sent you, did they?" We're at the top of page 123. "No, sir, they didn't." He shakes his head real sorrowful. "That's a crime. Not giving a boy presents from his father? I suppose you didn't get the letters I sent. No, if they didn't give you the presents, they likely tore up the letters. Another crime against humanity, that's what that is. They hated me from the first sight on account of my appearance and because I wasn't good enough for their precious daughter. As if a man should be blamed for how fearsome or cruel he looks, when in fact, he's truly a loving person outside, or inside, which I am. I can hardly see a sad movie without crying, and I am not afraid to say so." There's just enough streetlight coming through the curtains so I can make out part of his face when he turns it. You can see where, yeah, you can see where there's a wet spot on his cheek and he brushes it away. "I've been locked up like an animal," he says. "Every single night I cried myself to sleep, and that's a fact. Killer Kane, that's just an unkind nickname they hung on me. You know how kids can be mean in school, mean as animals? It was like that. Only these weren't kids, they were adults who should know better. Except they're so ignorant and hateful they believe the worst." Top of page 124. His voice is sort of ragged, but you can't help but listen to him. You follow the words up and down like you're riding them through mountains, and you can't see to either side. All you see is the road just ahead. "A great injustice was done to me, boy." We remember from our vocab, injustice was one of our words. Um, there was a wrong done. They took away his rights there. Great injustice was done to me. What those people did, follow along with my cursor, they stole my life. They took years away from me. Might as well have cut out my heart with a knife. That's how it was to lie awake each night and think about the injustice was done to me. They'd blame me for all the wrong in the world, those people. By which I mean the geezers. Her folks that always hated me and of course the police who failed to see the truth of the situation. So he's blaming Grim and Graham and the police. He stops to rub away another stream of tears. There's no crying in his voice. You can't hear it there. But sure enough, the tears are all over his face, slick and shiny in the pale, pale light. "I woke up just now worrying that you might wonder why I never did mention her. Your mother. You might still be thinking the wrong way on that, and believe what they told you. You being such a tiny thing when it happened, how could you know the truth of it?" He gets up then and he goes over by the TV set. Far enough so the rope is tugging at me. Then he's back and he's got a book in his hands. "You know what this is, boy?" "The Bible," I say. "You can tell that in the dark, can you? That's fine. What I'm gonna do, I'm putting my right hand down on this Bible, see?" "Yes, sir, I see." "And I'm putting my other hand over my heart. Can you see that?" "Yes, sir, I can." "That's good, boy. Now listen up. I, Kenneth David Kane, do swear by all that is holy that I did not murder this boy's mother. And if that isn't truth, may God strike me dead." I'm waiting to see if something happens, and nothing does. The room is the same. It smells of old lady perfume and missing cats. and my hands and feet are still tied by a rope to his waist. Satisfied? He says. I want to answer him, but my throat closes up and my tongue is so dry I can't hardly open my mouth. I keep thinking about how heavy his hand was on that Bible. I want to make sure that this is clear. This is another response to his father. Um, he's not fighting his dad on this. He's not running away. What's he doing? Say it out loud. Yes, he's freezing. I asked you a question, boy. Follow along on the bottom of page 125. Yes, sir, I say. I'm satisfied. He lies back down after that, and pretty soon he's breathing heavy again. I can't sleep, though. I just sit there like a lump until the sun comes up, trying not to think about things I don't want to remember. All right, so let's go back to our question. Our final line of this chapter, I just sit there like a lump until the sun comes up, trying to think about things I didn't want to remember. Why might Max be sitting like a lump? I want you to think about um, what his response was. Is he fight, flight, or freeze? How might that influence this? When you're done, move on to your exit ticket.